All right, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, picture a large canvas in front of you that is filled with the colors and lines of possibility. This space contains not only a collection of words, but also a wealth of life-changing ideas that are just ready to be embraced and woven into your very being. Nowadays, I'm not just a speaker, I'm also a change agent, ready with a storehouse of life-changing advice that could cause big changes in your environment. Let's let go of the chains of doubt and fear as we gather here today, and instead open our hearts and minds to the endless possibilities that lie ahead of us. Because deep in the corners of our shared experiences are the seeds of greatness, ready to be cared for and grown into completion. We shape our personalities in the crucible of hardship, and our futures are made in the crucible of knowledge. But let's not only think about the bad things that happened in the past. Instead, let's use them to build a better tomorrow. Every problem we face and setbacks we experience is not a hindrance, but a waypoint that points us in the direction of our true mission. In the search for this purpose, our lives take on new meaning, and the things we do are filled with more clarity and passion. So, as we start this path of self-discovery and empowerment, let's do it with courage and determination, knowing that we all have the power to make a difference and create our own destiny, even when life is rough. Let's all welcome the knowledge that lies ahead of us and use it to bring us hope when things look the worst. So understanding is the most important thing for success. This society pays its smartest people the most because they know more about their jobs than most people. They are smarter and know more important facts, ideas, and information than most people in their area. In a knowledge-based culture, this means they can make a bigger difference and live the best life possible. Because they have more schooling, they are respected and valued more, make more money, and get promoted more often. If you want to make more money, you have to learn more. It is important to boost your intellectual capital and the value of the information you use in your work if you want to make more money and live the best life possible. And you need to start right now. My friend Jim Rohn told me that formal education will help you make a living, but self-education will make you rich. Also, information is becoming outdated faster than ever, so you need to keep learning new things, or you'll fall behind. As the basketball teacher used to say, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. In the same way, if you don't keep learning new things, what you already know will become useless over time. That's a good question. What piece of information would help you the most in your job? What kind of information would it be? Is it time management, marketing, or sales? You have to pick your goals, because you can't be good at everything. As the saying goes, one shot, one opportunity. I've learned that you shouldn't try to learn a lot of things. Instead, pick the most important thing you need to learn and become an expert in it. Skill is the second thing that makes you more likely to succeed, and it improves your strength. When learned correctly and used often, information turns into a skill. These days, a lot of our skills are more mental than physical. We learn mental skills, which are effective ways to think, act, and choose what to do. The results are always the most important thing when it comes to information and skills. To be successful, you need to be in the top 10% of your area. This is something we know for sure is true. A Nobel Prize-winning economist named Gary Becker and I had dinner together in Chicago about 2 years ago. He wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal saying that we don't have an income gap in America today. What we have is a skills difference. It's important to know because the difference in income is a big problem in politics. There is a lack of skills here. In a market or sale, people with great skills are fought over. People want you and hire you, but people with average or mediocre skills aren't really in demand. No one's asking for them. Let me tell you a short story. There was once a nuclear power plant that had major issues with its machinery. This plant's ability to make electricity was cut by 40%. In one of his speeches, a nuclear engineer told me that the plant would lose between $1.2 and $1.3 million a day in electricity production because of what I told him. That's how big of a number the plant management was working with if it was at 40% and they couldn't find it. The plant was moving very slowly, and they had tried everything to figure out why. It just kept moving slowly. Finally, they faced reality and called MIT, which stands for the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and is usually just called MIT. MIT sent one of the best nuclear power plant experts in the country. He drove to the plant, put on a white coat, and began to walk through this huge control room, taking notes and looking at the gauges and signs. He said, "Aha, That's the problem. At the end of the second day, he got up from a chair, took out a big black marker, and put a big black X on the gauge. He put down his notes and coat and said, "That's it. Replace this device and the whole plant will be back to full power." They thanked him for his time. He drove back to the airport and flew back to MIT. Everyone was ready to go. The engineering team was waiting for him to make up his mind, like runners on the starting line. At the end of his sentence, boom. They all worked together. After taking everything apart, they found that there was a big mechanical problem inside the device that could not be seen from the outside. They got to work right away. It was taken apart and rebuilt with brand new parts. When the switches were turned on, the whole plant was back up and running. They slapped each other on the back because they were so happy. They told each other how proud they were and gave each other support. There was happiness among them all. And it lasted for another week until they got a $10,000 bill from the expert for the work that was done. Chandler, the plant manager, called the chief maintenance engineer and said, "Look, that guy who came here, hung out for a few days, made an X on a gauge and sent us a $10,000 bill. That's ridiculous." The chief maintenance engineer said, "Yeah, we should have him itemize his bill." "Yes, let's do it. Let's have him itemize his bill." The plant manager then wrote to Max and said, "Dear sir, with all due respect, all you did was write an X on a gauge. $10,000 seems like a lot of money for that much work. Could you provide more detail on your invoice?" 10 days later, they got a new bill that said, "For writing an X on the gauge, $1. For knowing which gauge to write an X on, $999. It wasn't about how much physical work you had to do. This is especially true for your job. It was about how much mental work you had to do. So it's very important to decide to get to the top 10% in a smart and skilled way. Also remember this, no one is smarter or better than you." This really hit home for me because I got such bad grades in school. You're the smartest and best person in the world. You have more brain power than you could ever use in 100 lives. Things that matter are how hard you work to learn a subject, not what grades you got. Don't ever think that someone else is better than you. The third thing that will help you move forward and get ahead in life is to make new friends all the time. There will be someone or some people who open or close doors for you during every big change in your life. The amount of people who know you, like you, and want to help you will determine how likely you are to live the best life possible. If you want to get more friends, you have to keep networking. When you meet someone new, the easiest way to network is to ask them what they do and then offer to help them. People really like it when you can send them a client. A lot of people who network think, "What can I get from this other person?" When you meet someone who can help you, you should think, "What can I give this person? What can I do for them? And how quickly can I do it?" This will make people want to help you in the future. There will be effects you didn't expect if you plant seeds and look for ways to help other people. Find ways to give all the time. I've been teaching this rule for many years. The more you give without expecting anything in return, the more you will get from places you least expected. Don't forget that nature says so and nature grows. The fourth important thing for success that will help you get a lot more done in less time and move up in your career quickly is just good work habits. If you can maximize your return on investment, you can get a lot more done in less time than someone who is careless and disorganized. Most people are bad workers, which is a shame. They are not well organized, can't concentrate, and get sidetracked easily. They only work about half of what they can. They don't even seem to know how to work differently, which is a shame. This is a big issue these days. It would be like speaking a different language, even if they wanted to. They need to be shown how to do it. If you want to be successful, you need to change the way you work and concentrate. Think about changing your lens like a photographer does to make sure you can see your goal clearly. Before you do anything, you need to be sure that it will help you reach your goals. A lot of successful people know that doing things you don't need to do is the worst way to waste time. Being very good at something that doesn't need to be done is the worst thing that people can do with their time. To concentrate, you need to be able to keep your mind on a job until it's finished. Making this choice will make the things you do every day much better and more of them. Soon you'll be one of the most successful people in your field. Fifth, being honest is important for success. Trust is what holds all ties together. People will think it's much more likely that they can get what they want from you if they know you, believe in you, and trust that you'll keep your word and do what you say you'll do. This will make them feel more confident and speed up the process. People in business say that word of mouth is the most effective form of advertising ever found. People telling their friends and family about a business is responsible for 85% of its sales and success. Harvard Business School says that a company's reputation is its most important asset. Customers learn about a business through what they say about it and its goods and services. This is called the business's image. There's a very easy idea at the heart of my new book, Now Build the Great Business, that hit me like a big wet fish on the head after 30 years of study. How do you run a successful business? 90% of your success will depend on how good your product or service is. The key word here is excellent. It's a great service or product. How can you tell if your service or product is great? How do you know? People say, this is a great product, this is a great company, these are great people. This means that your whole future depends on how many or what percentage of times your customers say, this is a great product, after using your product or service. A lot of people think I can sell a bad product or one that's the same as the others. All I need is a trick to get people to buy it, and then I can run and find someone else. But any business that does well knows that this customer will be there for a long time. They also know that making the first sale is only the start of the process. The second sale will happen or not based on how they treat the customer during the first sale and how the customer responds. Make them come to you first instead of your competitors. That's the business rule I speak of. You should get them to come back because they liked the first time so much. Make them bring their friends too. They come to you first, then come back with friends. And your image is very important here. Companies in the movie business spend $50 million making a movie and another $50 million selling it to get people to go to the theaters the first week. They can't spend $50 million spread out over a few weeks. So they need people to see the movie and tell their friends about it. When people start to be interested in the movie and start talking to their friends about it, you need to watch that movie. That's when the movie starts to do well. Why? Since it's their image at stake. In both of our lives, it's all about image. Your name is very important. The most important things about you are your character and honesty. One choice you must make is to never compromise your honesty. Creativity is the sixth thing. There is a straight link between being creative and being successful. How successful you are will depend on how creative you are. The more ideas you have for how to make your life better, the more successful you will be. There are always new ways to get better, whether it's how to do something better, faster, cheaper, or easier. What can they do to help their clients? They're always trying to find better ways to do things. How good your ideas are will depend on how many you have. It's true that 99% of business plans don't work. Did you understand? A lot of people are shocked. It looks like nothing is working no matter what you try. Once more, don't think, there's something wrong with me. Try a lot of different things. If you do it right, you'll find the best way to do it. But you need a very large number of ideas. The seventh reason has to do with health. Most of the time, think about your health. You might want to eat less and better food. Think about working out every day. Take some time to rest. Remember that you need a lot of energy to do well in today's world. If you want to have a lot of energy, you need to eat well, get enough rest, and work out regularly. Last but not least, I want to say that we need speed. These days, people can't just take it easy, so you need to move quickly. You can only relax going downhill. So quickly try out your good thoughts if you have them. Know that it won't always work. Give it a try. Then try something else, and then another, and another. Gather your rejections and mistakes and keep moving forward. You'll get better and smarter, even if you're not aware of it. You'll learn more the more you fail. As the lights come down on our time together, let us pass on the torch of inspiration that has been our guide today. Because the words we share and the knowledge we gain have the power to change not only our current situations, but also the very course of our future. Remember that the power to change your future lies in your own hands as you leave this meeting. Take the lessons you've learned and the new ideas you've come up with and use them as guide principles on your way to success and happiness. But don't forget, my friends, that information without action is just a bunch of words. When we put these truths into practice and strive for excellence and improvement every day, our lives really change. Be brave and sure of what you want, and know that every step you take brings you one step closer to your dreams coming true. And if you ever feel like giving up on this road, remember what was said here today. Let them be a source of power and encouragement for you, a reminder of how much potential you have. Because each of us is a thread in the fabric of life, and it is by weaving together all of our experiences that we make a work of art that is worth admiring. Friends, this is your chance to make the most of what's in store for you. The promise of a future full of plenty and happiness lies in following your dreams and pursuing your interests. Thank you for giving me the chance to go on this trip with you. May the wisdom you've learned today always make your lives better. And may you always aim for greatness in everything you do. Hello, goal-oriented friends. Today, we embark on a journey to unlock the secrets of goal achievement. A journey that promises to empower you to turn your dreams into reality, one step at a time. Whether you aspire to launch a successful business, achieve financial freedom, or simply lead a happier, more fulfilling life, the principles we'll explore today are universally applicable and profoundly transformative. Goals are the building blocks of success. They provide direction, purpose, and motivation to our lives. Yet, for many, the path to achieving our goals can seem daunting and elusive. We may find ourselves overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of our aspirations, or paralyzed by self-doubt and uncertainty. But fear not, for the keys to achieving any goal lie within your grasp. In the next few minutes, we'll uncover 7 simple yet powerful steps that will set you on the path to success and empower you to overcome any obstacle that stands in your way. As we embark on this journey together, I encourage you to approach it with an open mind and a willingness to take action. The principles we'll explore today have been tested and proven time and again by successful individuals from all walks of life. By embracing these principles and committing to their implementation, you too can achieve extraordinary results in your own life. So, are you ready to take the first step towards realizing your goals and unlocking your full potential? If so, let's dive in and discover the 7 simple steps to achieving any goal you set your mind to. Allow me to offer you a 7-step process for setting goals that you can use, and then I'll give you a simple exercise you can take home and perform. When you get home, this will make this a great year. Here are the 7 steps to setting goals. First, decide exactly what you want. Now, the rule is that you need 3 types of goals, all right? We need business and professional goals because we have to make a living and pay the bills. You also need personal and family goals because these are the most important things we do. And thirdly, you need self-improvement goals. Whatever got you to where you are today is not enough to take you further. You can't move forward in life with your current level of knowledge and skill. Your business and professional goals are the what you want. Your personal and family goals are the how, why you are doing what you are doing. And your self-improvement goals are the how. So decide exactly what you want, and that's the starting point. Make sure you have a balanced set of goals. You can work on 10 to 15 goals at a time, but as we'll say in a moment, you must have a primary goal. Second, write it down. Write it down with a deadline. Writing it, making it specific, and setting a deadline. Having a goal without a deadline is like sewing without a knot at the end of the thread. Your life just goes in circles. So you have to decide exactly what you want. You have to write it clearly and set a deadline. I always, when I write my goals, I write to achieve such and such, buy such and such, accumulate so much money, weigh so much. So that tells your subconscious mind and your superconscious mind that there is a time frame on your goal, that there is a time frame. And psychologists say that a scheduled date acts as a driving system. It unconsciously propels you towards the goal. And by the law of attraction, it begins to attract the goal into your life, and things start moving. There's a law called the law of accelerated acceleration that says when you head towards your goal, when you start towards your goal starts towards you and begins moving towards you at a fast rate. And the faster you move towards your goal, the faster the goal moves towards you. And that's very often what happens. You'll achieve your goal and find that a lot of other things have been happening that have made it possible. So the law of accelerated acceleration says that the greater the clarity you have about the goal, the faster you move towards it, and the faster it moves towards you. And that brings us to number 3. Identify obstacles. Identify the obstacles you will have to overcome to achieve your goal. Now, between you and your goal, there will always be obstacles. The difference between success and achievement, by the way, is that success means you get what you want, but achievement means you overcome obstacles to reach a goal. Someone asked me recently on a radio program, what is the difference between a goal and an activity like making sales calls? Well, a goal is something where there is adversity, difficulty, challenge, and the possibility of failure. Making sales calls is just an activity. You can do it or not do it. Having lunch is not a goal. Going for a walk is not a goal, it's an activity. But a goal is something big, measurable, important that can have an effect on your life. So identify the obstacles. And what we know is that here you are, and between you and anything you want, imagine there's a road, and here's your goal. And on the road there are detours, and there is construction and detours, and so on. But there is always a rock that has fallen from the mountain onto your goal. So the question is, what's your rock? What's the main obstacle standing between you and achieving your goal? And what we know in the answer to this question is the 80-20 rule, which says that 80% of your obstacles, your big obstacles, are within you, within your own knowledge, your own ability, and within your own qualities. Someone was asking me earlier about self-discipline. Everyone here feels they need a little more self-discipline, and say yes. Even the most disciplined people feel their self-discipline is lacking. It's interesting, people who don't think about it have no future at all, I can tell you that. But everyone, the reason you're successful is because of your level of self-discipline, but we all have that nagging feeling that we need more. And you're right, we need more, and we can never let up. It's like exercising with muscles. And if you stop working with them for some time, they start to lose their shape again. You just have to keep working on self-discipline all the time. You never master it perfectly. So 80% of all your rocks, the obstacles holding you back, are within you. Only 20% are external. So remember what we said before. The question is, what's in me? If you're not achieving a goal, say, what's in me? What quality, skill, or attribute am I lacking? And then work on yourself. And very often, that's where you'll find the problem. Identifying the skills needed to reach the goal, the fourth step in goal setting, is to identify the additional knowledge and skills you will require. As Les Brown would say, to achieve something you've never achieved before, you have to become someone you've never been before. You have to learn something you've never learned before. You have to apply something you've never applied before. Identify the additional knowledge and skills you require. We find that there is usually one skill that is your cornerstone. It is your main limitation for your success. And the way to discover your unique skill is by asking yourself this magical question. By the way, it's a life-changing question. It doubles your income, transforms your future. One of the best I've learned. You say, what skill, if I were excellent at it, would help me the most? Can you tell me which skill would help me the most to achieve my primary goal? Which skill would help me the most to double my income? Which skill would help you the most? And when you ask this question, the answer will arise in your mind. And almost invariably, it is a skill that you don't like. It's prospecting, it's closing, it's making phone calls, it's something you don't like to do. Now, why do we feel uncomfortable with a particular skill or in a particular area of skill? Because we're not good at it. Yet. We're just not good at it. Yet. That's all. And yet the good news is it's a skill that can be learned. The fifth step is to identify the people whose help and cooperation you will require. It's crucial. You will need the help and cooperation of your family if you are going to achieve big goals. You will also need the help and cooperation of your boss, your clients, your bankers, and your friends. Identify the people who have helped you, and then ask yourself this question: what's in it for them? Always start by asking yourself what you will give to get their support and cooperation. The average person who achieves very little always thinks about how they can get something from someone else, while the successful person thinks about how they can give something to someone else to get their help. Always present reasons why it would be advantageous for someone to help you. And it's amazing how much people will support you if there is a reason for them. So who are these people? And of all of them, who is the most important person whose help you will need to succeed? Is it your boss, your key client, your banker, or your spouse? Interestingly, there's a lot of trivial talk about how you should always keep your life in balance all the time. Well, it's just not true, because there are times in your life when you will have to work hard to stand out, like at the beginning of a marathon with all those runners. You'll have to run faster to move forward, so you'll have to go to what's called a deliberate extreme. A deliberate extreme is when you'll have to work many more days and hours than usual to start a new business, a new career, launch a new product or service, etc. If you're going to go through a deliberate extreme, sit down with your spouse, your children, etc., and tell them, this is what I'm going to have to do to make the most of this opportunity. But if you stick with me, I'll make it up to you. We find that one of the main reasons for negative emotions in life is frustrated expectation. If you explain to people what's going on before they get angry and upset, if you then tell them in a way that makes their expectations consistent with reality, you'll eliminate most of your problems. The sixth step is to make a plan. Plans are very simple because you just make a list. You start with a list of everything you'll have to do. You've already identified it. You know what the goal is. You've broken down the goal into some deadlines. You've identified the knowledge you require, the obstacles you'll have to overcome, the people whose cooperation you need. You make a list of everything you'll have to do, and then organize the list first by sequence, which means what comes first, what you have to do before anything else, and then by priority, what's more important and what's less important. And once you have a list organized by sequence and priority, you have a plan. Now you have two big requirements for winning. You have a goal and a plan. It takes a little time to do this, yes, but once you have the goal and the plan, the simple act of completing them programs them into your subconscious mind. The simple act of setting goals and creating plans can have a profound impact on our ability to achieve success and fulfillment in life. In our advanced training programs, participants are taught the importance of not just setting goals, but also regularly reviewing them and taking consistent action towards their attainment. It's remarkable to witness how, by simply committing their goals and plans to writing, individuals are able to tap into the immense power of their subconscious minds and set in motion a series of events that lead to the realization of their dreams. As Brian eloquently explained, the process of writing down our goals serves to program them into our subconscious minds, which then communicates our desires to the superconsciousness, the universal intelligence that orchestrates the events of our lives. And the results are nothing short of extraordinary. Chance encounters, serendipitous opportunities, and intuitive insights that propel us towards our goals with effortless ease. Research has shown time and again that individuals with clearly defined goals and plans are far more likely to achieve success than those who lack direction or purpose. In fact, according to the best research available, goal setters outperform non-goal setters by a staggering margin of 10 to 1. Emmett Fox's timeless wisdom, as shared in his seminal work, The Mental Equivalent, reinforces this fundamental truth, that we have a responsibility to our universe to create within our minds the mental equivalent of what we wish to manifest in our external reality. By aligning our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with our deepest desires, we unleash the limitless potential of our minds and invite the universe to conspire in our favor. So as you reflect on the insights shared today, I encourage you to take heed of this timeless wisdom and take action towards creating the life you truly desire. Write down your goals, make them clear, and trust that the universe will conspire to help you achieve them. Are you ready to harness the power of goal setting and manifest your dreams into reality? If so, let's embark on this journey together and unleash the boundless potential that lies within each and every one of us. If you do that, all the mental laws we've talked about and many more we haven't had a chance to delve into, they'll all work like a click, 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 and they'll all work, and what you want will appear on the outside. By the law of cause and effect, belief, expectation, attraction, correspondence, and so on, your job is to give the universe an absolutely clear picture of the goal you want, which you can only achieve by thinking about it and writing it down. So here's the exercise, and this exercise is your assignment. Take a clean sheet of paper when you get home, and this is the only exam. This is a take-home exam. It's a test to see how much you really want to make the next year a fabulous year. At the top of this page, write the word goals. Some of you have seen this before. I need to teach it to everyone. And you're going to write down 10 goals. You can write more than 10 if you want, but you must write a minimum of 10. These goals are approximately one-year goals. They are goals you want to achieve this year. Health, income, car, travel, fitness, and so on. You write them in the present tense as if a year has passed and you're reporting that they have already been achieved. I will drive such and such cars, live in such and such houses, weigh a certain number of pounds, take such and such vacations, and spend time with my family. I will write about one of my goals. The more often I write it repeatedly, the more time I spend with my family. If it's an important goal and you don't write it down, what happens is it drifts away. You write it down and you make it positive. You won't say, I will lose weight, but I am a non-smoker. I weigh so many pounds. You won't say, I will quit smoking, but I am a non-smoker. It's always a positive statement. And thirdly, it's always personal. Every goal you write for the rest of your life begins with the word I, because you are the only person in the universe who can use the word I regarding yourself, and you follow it with an action verb. I earn, I sell, I drive, I live in, I achieve, I accomplish, I acquire, I save. But always make it I plus an action verb. That's how the subconscious mind accepts instructions. When this instruction comes like this, it is immediately passed on to the superconsciousness. I have taken people through this exercise all over the world once, and they come back in here 2 years later and say the same words in every language. You won't believe what happened to me. I wrote down those goals and I never saw them again. You won't believe what happened to me. I found those goals a year later and you won't believe what happened. I have achieved all the goals. I didn't see it again because when you write down a goal, you activate 3 learning modalities. The visual, you can see it. The auditory, you sub-vocalize it. You say it to yourself. And the kinesthetic, you write it. All 3 together go straight to the subconscious mind and are passed on like one of those vacuum tubes for messages in old stores. Boom, straight to the superconsciousness. And you just go on with the rest of your life in the 24 hours. Now you have your list of goals. Here's my list. Right here, I do this all the time. Then you look at this list and here's what's important. You ask yourself, if you could wave a magic wand and achieve any goal on this list, these are your 1-year goals. But imagine you could have a special dispensation and wave a magic wand and you could have any goal within 24 hours. Which of these goals would have the greatest positive impact on your life? Then you look at your list and I can assure you the correct answer will jump out at you. It's usually a financial goal because if you achieve a financial goal, it will impact everything else. But sometimes it's a health goal, sometimes it's a business goal, sometimes it's a relationship goal. Your primary goal becomes your definite purpose, the organizing principle of your life, the goal that will change your life, because now you begin to think about this goal all the time. When you have the chance, you sit down and write this goal at the top of a page and set a deadline for the goal. Then you identify all the obstacles you'll have to overcome to achieve the goal, all the knowledge and skills you need to achieve the goal, the people whose help you need. You make a plan, organize the plan, and work on the plan every day. When you wake up in the morning, you think about the goal. As you go through the day, you think about the goal. Every time something distracts you from the path, you start to think about the goal because the goal is inherently positive. When you think about the goal, you become happy. When you think about your goal, your self-esteem and self-confidence increase. And it's absolutely inevitable that you begin to move toward the goal. And as you get closer to the goal, you feel powerful, you feel like a winner. You feel like you're in control of your life, and your self-confidence increases, and your self-esteem increases. And as sure as God made green apples, you'll reach that goal. And when you reach that goal, you get that rush I was talking about. That tells you, hey, I can do anything. I can do anything I set my mind to. And once you know you can do anything you set your mind to, your self-confidence will soar. You'll set bigger goals. You'll put more zeros at the end of your goals, and you'll become unstoppable. So let me conclude by saying this. You have unlimited potential. You're living in the greatest country at the greatest time in all of human history. The possibilities for the future are greater than they've ever been for humanity right here in this country. There's nothing you can't do if you set your mind to it. So go out there and kick butt and take names. Do it. And as we conclude our journey through the 7 simple steps to achieving any goal, let us pause for a moment of reflection. The principles we've explored today offer a roadmap to success, a blueprint for turning your aspirations into achievements and your dreams into reality. From clarifying your goals and creating a plan of action to cultivating resilience and embracing accountability, each step holds the power to propel you forward on your path to greatness. But let us not simply marvel at the insights shared today. Let us take action. Let us commit to implementing these simple yet powerful steps into our daily lives, one step at a time. For it is through consistent effort and intentional action that we will truly transform our goals from mere aspirations into tangible realities. As you reflect on the lessons learned today, I encourage you to identify one key takeaway, a single step or strategy that resonates deeply with you. and holds the power to catalyze positive change in your life. Make a commitment to incorporate this insight into your daily routine and watch as it transforms your approach to goal setting and achievement. Remember, the journey to success is not a sprint, but a marathon. A continuous journey of growth, learning, and self-discovery. Along the way, you will encounter obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But take heart in the knowledge that you possess within you the power to overcome any challenge and achieve greatness beyond your wildest dreams. So as we bid farewell to this chapter of our journey, I encourage you to embrace the power of these 7 simple steps and let them guide you towards the life of abundance, fulfillment, and success that you truly deserve. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. May the principles we've explored today serve as a guiding light on your path to achieving any goal you set your mind to. And may you always remember, the power to achieve greatness lies within you. Seize it with courage, determination, and unwavering belief in yourself. Until we meet again, may your journey be filled with purpose, passion, and boundless possibility. All successful people are excellent communicators. So how do you communicate more effectively with others? Now, the first one is a profound communication principle, and the first agreement: say what you mean and mean what you say. Words have the power to create or destroy, and a careless comment can alter a relationship forever. So it's a good idea to choose your words carefully and consider their impact before you put them out there in the world. Before you speak or write, I want you to ask yourself these 4 questions. Is it necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it helpful? And if you don't get yeses to those questions, then don't say it. One of the things I observe is simply this: a lot of people are very careless with their language. I mean, the words you use either lift up your energy, the words you use either make you more creative, or the words you use deny your talents. Think about the great dictators. Their words of hatred, their words of toxicity, their words of breakdown cause the people around them to do sometimes incredibly terrifying acts. And then you look at people like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, the great business builders, the humanitarians, the great artists. They were so careful with their words, and their words lifted people up. That's really what great leaders do. They use the language of leadership. I see this everywhere. Someone very close to me, who was a little sloppy with her languaging, said, "Oh, I forgot to do this. It's not on my to-do list." I should punch myself in the face. If you say that every day, what's that doing to your self-esteem? If you say that over a lifetime, what's that doing to your self-identity? As you know, your income is a function of your self-identity, and your performance is a reflection of your personal story. The way you build your self-architecture and the way you see yourself in the world is in part through your words. You're never going to rise any higher in terms of your impact in the world than the way you see yourself. If you see yourself as average, well, you're not going to read the books, go to the events, do the study, put in the training time. Find the mentors, do the work to rise to world class, because you're running an interior psychological story that says you're average, and the A players are somehow different from you. If deep down inside, you're coming from scarcity, and you think, I'll never have more than the salary that I'm making, it's because of the story that you have through the words you've used. Well then, you're not going to go out there and ask for the big order. You're not going to start the big business. You're not going to read the books on financial mastery. Because deep inside, you would say, what would be the point? I'm not one of those people. If you want to rewire yourself, your identity, so you go in the world, and you're literally operating at legendary, then you absolutely must dial into this first point of what legendary leaders do in terms of the way they speak, which is to get your precision of languaging right. Like I say, the great leaders, how did they transform humanity? It was through their words. How did the great military generals get their armies to go out there on fire? It was through their words. So calibrate your languaging. Sir, your words to yourself are world class, and also the words you use to your team, to your customers, to your loved ones. So incredibly important. This leads me to the next communication skill that's probably the most critical skill for everyone on the planet to master, and that is the skill of effective listening. Now, the undeniable truth is that so many of us are terrible listeners, and there can never be effective communication without both parties being as focused on the listening part as they are in the speaking part. Because if you aren't really listening and responding to what the other person is actually saying, ultimately, all you're really doing is having a conversation with yourself. Now, here's an invaluable tip. Whenever you're having an important conversation, it could be with your spouse or your partner, with a child, with an employer, a customer, or someone on the other side of the political divide. Let them go first. Don't interrupt them and argue with them. Let them empty themselves out first. Remember this, you can't pour water into a full glass. You have to let the water out before you can have more put in. Instead, really listen to their point of view. Be curious. How is it that they've come to feel this way, to have this point of view? What is it that they are needing you to hear? Now, this takes a commitment to really want to know what the other person is experiencing and needing. Sometimes when you've done your best to listen closely to someone, you may not have heard exactly what it was they were trying to say. That's why it's so important for you to double check and make sure you really understood them correctly. The easiest way to do that is before you speak, to say, "So what I'm hearing you say is," and then repeat back to them what you think they were saying and what they meant to say, and then give them the opportunity to clarify any misunderstandings that you might have before you respond to them. So it's always best to make sure you're really responding to what they're really saying. The more you practice again, the quality of your performance is all about the quality of your practice. And the more you actually practice speaking up when you know you want to speak up, the more you will actually step up when you actually speak up with someone. And you tell them how you're feeling and you tell them what's most important to you. Well, if it's the right relationship, one that's meant to be in your life, whether it's professional or personal, that is really a gateway into the other person. If you're going to make your point and they're going to make their point, you better have your points organized, because otherwise you're going to look like and be an absolute idiot. You are not going to get anywhere. Teach people to be articulate, because that's the most dangerous thing you can possibly be. If you're going to speak effectively, you have to know way more than you're talking about. To do that, you have to do a lot of reading. That's on the input side. And then on the output side, well, there's some tricks. There isn't 1,000 people there. There's 1,000 individuals. So you just look at an individual, and you say something, and you can tell if they're engaged, they look confused, or they look interested, or they look angry, or they look bored, and they give you feedback about how you're doing. The people that I've watched in my life who have been spectacularly successful, they have skills clearly, that's a minimum precondition. But they're also very, very good at articulating themselves. So whenever they negotiate, they're successful. They are quiet, self-contained, not particularly expressive. They're sensitive, people-oriented, and concerned about other people's opinions. If you're communicating with this person, it requires slow, low-key, easygoing, friendly, almost warm and fuzzy. Now, the third type of person is what we call the director. They want to achieve with and through other people. They like to talk about achievement. What are you doing? How did you do it? How did it work? Let me tell you what I did and how it worked for me. Many times they become managers or executives because they have highly integrated personalities. They're very concerned about results, but they're also concerned about people. Now, everybody you meet is in one of these 4 quadrants or groups. The mistake that most people make is that they treat everyone else as if they were just the same as they were. However, no matter which style of communicator you are, 3/4 of the people you meet are something else. Now there's no right or wrong, better or worse style. These are almost born into people. You can see them in children from an early age. However, your job in asking questions and listening to people is to find out which style they are, and then to practice personality flexibility so that you can get along with a greater number of different types of people. Somebody's having a bad day, and you don't know they're having a bad day, but somebody's really feeling bad, and you offer up a kind word. Maybe it's just a friendly hello, how are you? Maybe it's just taking a minute or two to listen to what somebody has to say. But your few words of kindness or your few minutes of attention could turn somebody's day around, might make them feel more worthwhile, cared for. Be generous with your kindness. It'll go a long way. When you give kindness, it's not gone, it's invested. It'll come back to you 2, 5, 10, 100 times. Kindness is so important in every aspect of your life. It's so important in building good relationships with others. Most people won't reveal the problem on the first question. You say, "Mary, how are you today? How are things?" And she says, "Well, everything's okay." And you can tell by the way she said it that everything's not okay. And most of us don't want to come right out and say what the real problem is unless 2 criteria are met. Number 1, we're talking to someone we can trust. And number 2, we're talking to someone who really cares. So sometimes it takes that second question, maybe a third and maybe a fourth before trust fills, and the person finally understands that you do care. Then they're willing to tell you what's really going on, what's really on their mind. Learn to ask questions that will build the trust and communication between you and those you work with. Learn to express, not impress. If you want to touch somebody, express sincerity from the heart. Impress builds a gulf. Express builds a bridge. When you want to enhance the rapport you have with someone, you need effective communication skills. You'll need the skills that'll help you work better with others to achieve their goals and achieve your goals. You need effective communication skills. Let me give you a few tips on good communication, because to be able to get along well with others, to be able to work well with others, to be able to live well with others, you must be a good communicator. 1. Have something worth saying: interest, fascination, sensitivity, and knowledge. 2. Now that you've got something worth saying, number 2 is say it well, and you've got to be able to translate it so it'll benefit someone. You must have a good delivery system for your substance and knowledge, awareness, understanding, and experience. Learn to say it well. Here are some clues on saying it well. 1. Sincerity. The best communication occurs when both people are sincere, one sincerely wishing to learn or listen, and the other sincerely wishing to share. 2. Repetition. Part of saying it well is simply practicing to say it well. Practice, practice, practice. Part of what I teach in sales training is practice. Practice. You start with something simple, and when you don't know much about what you're doing, practice is even more important. So, practice your presentation and your ability to communicate what you know. The people out there who say, "No, I wouldn't care for any," are just as valuable. Why? Because they took the time to let you practice your presentation. Especially when you're just getting started, you might want to pay them to listen to you practice while you stumble around. Be thankful for the no's. Practice helps you develop skills. Skills make labor more valuable. If you just sell, you can make a living. If you skillfully sell, you can make a fortune. If you just talk, you can hold a family together. If you skillfully talk, you can build dreams for the future. The difference is skill. You can cut a tree down with a hammer, but it takes about 30 days. If you trade the hammer for an axe, you can cut the tree down in about 30 minutes. The difference between 30 minutes and 30 days is the tool, and your best communication tool is your skill. So practice to get the skill of saying it well. Part of saying it well is sincerity. Here's another part of saying it well: brevity. Sometimes you don't need too much, just enough. The more you know, here's what I found out: the more you know, the briefer you can be, because you can learn to make words more effective. Next is style. Part of saying it well is style. Be a student of style, a variety of styles. Then, make sure you develop your own. Be a student, but develop your own. Don't be someone else. Let someone else influence you, but don't become them. Develop your own style. Here's another tip on saying it well: vocabulary. You've just got to have a good vocabulary to say it well. Vocabulary, we can only translate for other people with the tools called vocabulary. If you're lacking in vocabulary, then you're lacking in tools to describe some problem or some answer. Words, vocabulary, you can't communicate without that. And you can't communicate well without a defined vocabulary. Every time you come across a word that's new to you, what should you do? Look it up. Every time you're in a conversation and the other person uses a word that's new to you, look it up. Now, most of the time you can figure out the meaning of a new word by how it's used, but if you can't, make sure you hold your response until you know for sure. Vocabulary is a way of seeing. It gives us insight, and only with your present vocabulary can you see. You can't use tools you don't have to see to create light, understanding, awareness, comprehension, perception, vision. You can only have as much vision as your present vocabulary will give you, and if you're limited in vocabulary, then you can't see very well. What if a person could only see the world through a little tiny hole? Now, vocabulary is also what we use as a tool to express what's going on in our heart, what's going on in our head, to translate our questions, translate our answers, our perceptions, what we see, to be able to say it. And I'm telling you, if you have a limited way of translating and expressing what's going on in your heart and what's going on in your head, you'll fall way behind. So, you'd have twin problems without a good vocabulary. Number 1, you wouldn't be able to see. Number 2, you wouldn't be able to express. And your world would keep getting smaller and smaller. Not having the vision, not having the tools. Finally, you wouldn't need a place much bigger than 10 by 12 to live. Why? That's about as big as some people's world is. That's all they've got. This little narrow world, making mistakes every day. Why? They can't see, getting it wrong every day. They can't comprehend. They can't understand. No tools with which to translate for good communication. Number 1 is having something good to say. Number 2 is saying it well. And number 3 is reading your audience. You've got to read what's going on between you and the people you're talking to. Should you say what you're saying a little softer? Should you say it a little stronger? Should you explain it more? Should you be more clear and concise? Should you quit? A lot of the decision making that's going on during a conversation with someone depends on how well you can read, how well you can tell what's going on in the minds of those you're trying to reach. Doesn't matter if you're looking into the face of a child or the face of a colleague or 1,000 faces in an audience. You've got to read what's going on. You've got to pay attention. So let me give you some ways to read. The first one is you've got to read what you see. You've got to read what you see. Search the face of a child and see if you're coming across. See if they look perplexed. See if they're getting it. See if they can't get it. Body language tells us a lot. Look at how the people you're talking to are sitting. What they are doing with their hands, their eyes. A guy's got his arms crossed, legs crossed, chin tucked down, and frowning. You've got your work cut out for you. This guy is not going to be easy to reach. The lady standing up from behind her desk. You've got to hurry. She's not going to listen to much more. You've probably got to pick up the pace and get down to it. So the first one is read what you see. Here's the second one. Read what you hear. You've got to be a good listener to be a good communicator. Get some feedback. Listen. To be a good parent, you've got to be a good listener. To talk well, you've got to listen well. That's so valuable. Get the feedback. Now, what you hear may help you change gears. Be a little stronger. Be a little softer. Find a different illustration. This one isn't working. Search for another way to say it. Become sensitive to someone else's words, not just by preparing to talk when the other person's through. Listen. Pick up those signals the feedback of words gives us. Here's the third way to read your audience, and that is to read how you feel. Emotional signals. You've got to learn to pick those up. Pick up those feelings. Women just seem to have this part built in. Men can learn it, but women have it. A woman says, it doesn't feel right. Just doesn't feel right. A man says, what does that mean? It doesn't feel right. She says, it's something. He says, something? What is this something? She says, I'm telling you, something doesn't feel right. Now, men can learn it, but women haven't. Learn to read your emotions. Learn to read what others are feeling so you can adjust your communication, so you can adjust your approach, so you can get your message across, so you can communicate well. Exactly where are you today, and how are you doing in each of the important areas of your life, especially as they relate to your goals? If you want to be the best you can be and to achieve what is truly possible for you, you must be brutally honest with yourself about your point of departure. You must sit down and analyze yourself in detail to determine exactly where you are today in each area. If you want to earn more money, the first thing you do is to sit down and determine exactly how much you are earning right now. How much did you earn last year and the year before? How much will you earn this year? How much are you earning each month? The best measure of all is for you to determine how much you are earning each hour right now. Many of my coaching clients calculate their hourly rate each week and compare it against previous weeks. They then set a goal to increase the value of what they do each hour to increase the amount they earn each hour on a go-forward basis. You should do the same. The tighter and more accurate your calculations regarding your income or any other area, the better and faster you can improve in each one of them. If you set a long-term financial goal, the next step is to determine exactly how much you are worth today in financial terms. If your goal is to become a millionaire in the years ahead, you must calculate exactly how much you have accumulated as of today's date. For accurate financial planning, calculate your net worth today and then draw a line from that point to your long-term financial goal. Divide the line by the number of years you intend to spend to achieve that financial goal. In this way, you will know exactly how much you have to save, invest, and accumulate each year to become financially independent. What's the reality when you begin to plan your long-term future? One of the most valuable exercises you can engage in is called zero-based thinking. In zero-based thinking, you ask this question: knowing what I now know, is there anything that I am doing today that I wouldn't start up again today if I had to do it over? Knowing what I now know, no matter who you are or what you are doing, there are certain things in your life that, knowing what you now know, you wouldn't get into again today if you had to do them over. It's difficult, if not impossible, for you to make progress in your life if you allow yourself to be held back by decisions you have made in the past. If there is something in your life that you wouldn't get into again today, your next question should be, how do I get out, and how fast? I have a good friend who was a golfer. In high school and university as a bachelor, he played golf several times a week. He organized his entire life around golf, even flying south in the winter to golf courses that had no snow on them. Over time, he started and built a business, got married, and had children, but he was still locked into the idea of playing golf several times a week. Eventually, the enormous time commitment of playing golf began to affect his business, his married life, and his relationship with his children. When the stress became too great, he sat down and zero-based his activities. He realized that, knowing what he now knew in his current situation, golf would have to be cut back dramatically if he was going to achieve other things in his life that were now more important. By reducing his golf time, he got his whole life back in balance in just a few weeks. If you want to earn a certain amount of money, ask yourself, why am I not earning this amount of money already? What's holding you back? What's the major reason that you're not already earning what you want to earn? Again, you must be perfectly honest with yourself. Look around you and identify other people who are earning the kind of money that you want to earn. What are they doing differently from you? What special skills and abilities have they developed that you have not yet developed? What skills and abilities do you need to acquire if you want to earn the same kind of money they are earning? First, identify the key result areas of your work. What are they? These are critical tasks you must be absolutely excellent at in order to do the whole job for which you are paid. You must be good at every one of these tasks if you want to earn the kind of money that you're truly capable of earning. Here's an important discovery. Your weakest key skill sets the height at which you can use all your other skills. Your weakest key result area, whatever it is, determines your income in your field. You can be absolutely excellent at everything except for one key skill, and that skill will hold you back every step of the way. So, look at yourself in the mirror and ask, what are my weakest skill areas? Where are you below average or poor? What is it that you do poorly that interferes with your ability to use your other skills? What is it that you do poorly that other people do better than you? Especially, what key skills do you lack that are essential for your success? Whatever they are, you need to identify them accurately and honestly, and then make a plan to improve in those areas. When you embark on the achievement of any great goal, you should imagine that at any time you could start your career over and over again. Many people today are walking away from their educations, their businesses, their industries, and their years of experience and getting into something completely new and different. They are honest enough to recognize that there is a limited future in the direction they're going, and they're determined to get into something where the future possibilities are far greater. Take a hard look at your current company and industry. Take a hard look at your current job situation. Take a hard look at your market relative to your competitors. In reinventing yourself, stand back and think about starting your career over again today, knowing what you know and what you know. Imagine that your job and your industry disappeared overnight. Imagine that you had to make brand new career choices. Your most valuable financial asset is your earning ability. In reality, you could lose your home, your car, your bank account, and your furniture, and be left with nothing but the clothes on your back. But as long as your earning ability was intact, you could walk across the street and begin generating a good living almost immediately. See yourself as a bundle of resources capable of doing many different things. You already have a wide variety of skills, abilities, knowledge, talents, education, and experience. There are many jobs and tasks that you could do or learn to do extremely well. Never allow yourself to get locked into a particular course of action in mentally starting over as though you were beginning your career anew. Look deeply into yourself as well. What good habits do you have that are helping you and moving you toward your goal? What bad habits have you developed that may be holding you back? What are your very best qualities of character and personality? What are your weakest qualities? What new habits and qualities do you need to develop to get the very most out of yourself? And what is your plan to begin developing them? What bad habits do you need to get rid of and replace with good habits? Whenever I do strategic planning for a company, we start off the session with 4 questions. First, we ask, where are we now? We gather data and information from every part of the company to develop a crystal clear picture of our starting point, especially with regard to sales, market position, and profitability. Second, we ask, where would we ideally like to be in the future? We idealize and practice future orientation. We imagine that we can make the company and do anything we like in the years ahead, and we create a perfect vision of what the company would look like if we were successful in every respect. Third, we ask, how did we get to where we are today? What did we do right? What would we do differently if we had to do it over again? What have been our biggest successes so far, and why did they occur? What have we failed at, and what were the reasons for it? The fourth question we ask and answer is always, what do we do now to get from where we are to where we want to go? Based on our experience, what should we be doing more of or less of? What should we start doing that we are not doing today? What should we stop doing altogether? Taking the time to honestly evaluate each part of your situation before you launch towards your goal will save you months and even years on your journey. It will dramatically improve the speed at which you achieve your goals once you get going. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, determine the reality of your current situation relative to your major goals. Where are you now and how far you have to go? Second, apply the zero-based thinking principle to every area of your life. What are you doing today that you wouldn't get into again if you had to do it over, knowing what you now know? And third, do a complete financial analysis of your life today. How much are you earning right now, and how much are you worth? What are your goals in the financial